Skrilla, what's good, man? Am I live and direct? In the place to be? Let me see, man. Let me see here. Hold on for a second. Let me get this squared away. You listen to the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty. Grade A Media, Grade A Radio, the Sports Court, the show where we keep it 100% of the time. That's real. Hold on here. Let me see here. Let me see, man. Let me see, bro. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Before I get rolling on this Tuesday evening. Glad to be here. Finally back in the building. Feels good. Feels great. Let me cut that down real quick. Let me see here. Okay. 1 second. Bam. Bam. Skrilla, what's good, man? What's good in the place to be? Grade A Media, Grade A Radio in the building. Hey, though, you know what? You know what? Okay. Yeah, get a little bit of that. That's what's up. That's what's up. We just trying to get squared away right here. Paying attention to detail. You know how it go. You know how it go. Let me show you something. We rolling. What's up, boy? Shit, chilling like a villain and still killing. About to talk some sports. Of course, I'm in here after my Buckeyes lost that big game last week, the real national championship. Going to talk about that in a second. Kudos to TCU on a job well done, making it to the national championship game. But much credit goes to the University of Georgia. That's for sure, for getting the job done, finishing the deal last night, doing what they had to do against TCU. That wasn't even a game. Yeah. Bingo right there, man. Appreciate you, boy. One love. Grade A Media's in the building. That's Skrilla Montana's in the building right there, making sure I'm A-OK. Back in the building. Seems like it's been like a month since I've been in here, but it hasn't been that long. Hope everyone had happy holidays. Back, ready to get rolling. And hey, a lot going on. A lot going on in the sports world. Once again, I'm Gregory Beatty. They call me the KID. The kid is in the building. Hey, couple of tidbits. One love. Couple of tidbits. Of course, there are a lot of openings in the NFL happening right now. Of course, the Houston Texans. We'll talk about them here in a second, or I'll talk about them here in a second. Oh, man. The Houston Texans. Man. You thought that kick by Noah Ruggles was comical. What the Texans did the other day was even more comical. But, you know, not to come down too hard on the Texans. Of course, they got rid of Lovie Smith. I told y'all, I tried to tell y'all, and this wasn't any breaking news. I'm sure a lot of people that's connected to the Houston Texans knew that Lovie would probably be out of there. So, of course, it's going to make 4 head coaches next year. Once the season starts next year, 4 head coaches the last 4 years to start the season. That's your Houston Texans, folks. But real quick, Carlos Correa, every time I look up Carlos Correa signing another $200, $300 million deal, I thought he was inked with the Mets already. Wasn't. Thought he was inked with the Giants, or at least was going to sign a dotted line with the Giants at first. Didn't do that. Of course, we're talking about Carlos Correa. I'm talking about Carlos Correa, former Houston Astros World Series champion, played for the Minnesota Twins last year, had agreed to a deal with the San Francisco Giants. That fell through. Didn't ink that $300 million deal, or however much it was. He was trying to get over $300 million. Then it was the Mets. Thought that was finalized. That didn't go through. Both of those teams reportedly had concerns with his health. So, but he signed back with the Twins for like $100 million less than he wanted. I don't really know the full details. Actually, just saw that news before I actually came over here. But he's signing back with the Twins. He's agreed with the Twins, the Minnesota Twins, the team he played for last year, on a deal worth upwards up to $200 million. So, I mean, nothing to feel sorry for Carlos Correa about. $200 million is $200 million. And any way you slice it. So, congratulations to him. And also, before I get going, really proud and really happy to see Damar Hamlin released from the UC Medical Center in fair condition yesterday. And now he's back in Buffalo. He's been interacting with his teammates. We all know Damar Hamlin had that cardiac arrest last week with the Buffalo Bills in that game with the Cincinnati Bengals. Terrible, terrible story, tragedy. But he's come out on the other side so far, making a complete recovery. Seems like he's on the path to making a complete recovery. He's not all the way there yet. But, of course, the whole football, just the world in general, especially the United States of America, but especially, definitely the NFL as a whole, definitely has paid their respects to Damar Hamlin. That's why I took off last week from doing the show, out of respects to Damar Hamlin. So I wish him continued success as far as getting well. And he's doing things now as far as tweeting and interacting with his teammates. And, hey, it's really good to see him getting back in the fold and getting back healthy. And I just hope he continues this recovery, and I think he will. And everyone has him in his prayers, in our prayers, definitely. He's definitely in my prayers for sure on behalf of the sports court. And I wish him well moving forward. But that was something that totally rocked the sports world and just the nation in general last week and put everyone on pause for a second. But, hey, again, he's doing well, back in Buffalo, interacting with his teammates, getting back to some kind of normalcy. It's still going to take a minute. He's not all the way there yet, but the prospects look very good for Damar Hamlin. And right now, his least concern is getting back on the football field. It's just getting back to great health, getting back to some good health where he can live a good, productive life. And that's the most important thing right now for Damar Hamlin. So I wish him well in that regard, and I wish him a speedy recovery. I also want to give my condolences. Haven't been in here since Franco Harris died. Now, I don't know what transpired. Supposedly, as of now, former Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Fame great died suddenly a few weeks ago of natural causes. I think that's the diagnosis as of now. I don't think anything else has been diagnosed as far as other than it being just natural causes. But that was a blow in itself right there to the football community. Franco Harris, great man, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be honest, God rest his soul. 2 days before he was supposed to get his number retired in Pittsburgh, and 2 days before the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, 1972 against the Miami Dolphins. The Oakland Raiders, I'm sorry. The Oakland Raiders, 1972. And that reception against the Oakland Raiders in the playoffs is what really got the Pittsburgh Steelers off and running and off to doing great things. We all know what they did in the 70s as far as a dynasty, 4 Super Bowl championships. They didn't win it that year, 1972, but that got the ball rolling. That got them going in the right direction, really instilled some confidence in that team. I think he was just a rookie that year, if I'm not mistaken. But to be honest with you, at the time, I wasn't a Franco Harris fan because, of course, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, and the Pittsburgh Steelers used to always put it on my Dallas Cowboys in the 70s, always. And I'll talk about them here coming up soon, too, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm telling you right now, Dallas Cowboys fans, don't bet your money on them. Don't bet your money on them. Don't fall for it. Talk about them here when I talk NFL. But Franco Harris, great running back. But like I said, I'll admit, at the time, wasn't a Franco Harris fan because he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I always used to say, why that man keep running out of bounds? But make no mistake about it, was a great running back, fullback, played at Penn State, great college career, first-round draft pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But more important than anything, from all accounts, everyone says how great of a man he was. And so I'm sure he will dearly be missed by many. And again, even though I wasn't a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I hate to keep stressing that, but I'm keeping it 100. Hey, the Sports Court, the show where we keep it 100% of the time. At the time, I was not a fan, and I was not a Steelers fan. But as time went on and as the years passed and I got to know him off the field, not personally, but just seeing him do things in interviews and the way people respected him and the way he conducted himself, his character, things of that sort, became a Franco Harris fan. I definitely became a Franco Harris fan, so I'm proud to say that. So, and speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, kudos to Mike Tomlin, even though they didn't make the playoffs, for again having a winning season, 9-8. So his entire tenure there, he has not had a losing season yet. They didn't make the playoffs, but I was actually pulling for that. I was actually pulling for him not to have that losing season, and it happened. So kudos to them. But what else is going on? Again, a lot of coaching vacancies open right now in the NFL before I get to this college football here in a second. A lot of coaching vacancies. Of course, the NFL playoffs start this weekend. Going to talk about that. You got Steph returning tonight with the Golden State Warriors coming back from that shoulder injury. So Golden State looks like they're finally able to get healthy. Andrew Wiggins is back in the fold. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see now what Golden State is able to do as far as a possible repeat to that championship. We all know they have 4 championships, the core of that team with Steph, Clay, Draymond. Iguodala's back in the fold now. Say what you will about Iguodala, 38, 39 years old. But what they need him to do on that team, as far as being a leader, initiating the offense, calming things down when things go awry, just being that leader, that's a great person to have back in the fold. So don't sleep on Iguodala coming back and playing his first game of the season as well as Steph. Clay is coming back. Now he's looking like the Clay that we all have grown to know. He's finally getting back healthy, getting his feet back under him. So talk a little NBA before I get out of here tonight. Of course, like I said, Golden State is in the fold, is in the mix. Going to see what they do moving forward. The Rockets, even though their record does not indicate a playoff team, obviously, going for the first pick. Very fun team to watch. Very, very fun team to watch. Explosive, young talent. So I like to follow them because I'm hoping they get that number 1 pick with Victor Wembanyama from France, 7'4" guard. That's crazy. 7'4" guard, can do it all. But again, a lot of coaching vacancies in the NFL. The Panthers, Arizona Cardinals, fired Kingsbury, Indianapolis Colts. We'll see if Jeff Saturday, a guy who I admire for going to take that job, don't blame him one bit, didn't have the success that I'm sure he wanted, but he's let it be known that he wants the job, that he wants a chance to have a clean slate and start from scratch, and I can't blame him. But, of course, we all know the Colts need a lot, and it starts with the quarterback because they have not had anything since Andrew Luck left. Matt Ryan says he does not want to retire, but they definitely need a QB. The Broncos, I told y'all before, Deion should have just passed through Boulder, went right on to Denver, Colorado, and coached the Denver Broncos. And, of course, the Texans. But going back, last night, that game, I'm going to be honest with you. Leading up to that game last night, I did not want to see anything regarding the national championship game. The game Ohio State lost, and I'll talk about that in a second. The game Ohio State lost to Georgia, which they whooped Georgia all up and down the field. But you know what? The way I look at that, is it just wasn't meant to be that night for my Buckeyes. Georgia beat them 42-41 when the Buckeyes had them by 14, pretty much dominated the entire game. But the defense collapsed in the fourth quarter. Some things transpired I'll talk about here in a second that didn't bode well for the Buckeyes, but it's all about perspective. Perspective. I mean, in life, period, it's all about perspective. Not denial, but perspective. Perspective, as far as emotional well-being, is nothing more important than perspective. Real talk. Think about that. Perspective. Think about how important that is just in life in general. But before I talk about that game, for a quick second, again, last night, after TCU went and beat Michigan, now we have Harbaugh. He's talking about how he may want to coach in the NFL. I think he's interviewing for jobs. I think he's already had some talks with, I think, the Panthers and the Broncos. And, of course, Michigan put a whipping on Ohio State this past season not too long ago. Still think if we played them again and we were clicking on all cylinders, and I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. We'd whoop them. But they did what they had to do. But TCU, magical season, handled Michigan in that semifinal game. Even though Michigan made a tremendous comeback, TCU finished the deal. So my thinking was, going back to the way on perspective, I was saying to myself when the Buckeyes lost, I said, okay. I said, you know what? It's just meant for either TCU to finish off a magical season and be that Cinderella team. It's either meant for that to happen or it's meant for Georgia to be a dynasty. And that's 2 championships in a row. And that's exactly what happened. And I also think, not to take anything away from my Buckeyes, but I think the Buckeyes probably caught Georgia kind of off guard just a bit. Now, as it relates to TCU, again, TCU handled Michigan, made it to the championship game. And I had some thoughts, maybe they could probably do some things. Not sure, but last night, it just showed me that Georgia was just on another level. They're just on another level. Georgia's the best team in the nation. The best team in the nation that's been the best team in the nation all season won the championship. Get some of that fan action. For some reason in this building, they do not want to have that central air on. I do not get it. But that fan is kicking right now, so it's all good. But it's as simple as this. As great as TCU has been all season, Max Duggan, Quentin Johnson, going to be a first-round draft pick at wide receiver, probably the first receiver taken. Max Duggan, tremendous leader at quarterback, great season, tremendous savvy, athletic, competitor, leader, all the above. Don't know how he'll be drafted. I don't know. I have no idea. But it goes to show you when you have 5-star recruits all on your roster, and TCU, the aforementioned Quentin Johnson, is the only 5-star recruit on TCU's team. As great of a season as they had, as great of a job as Sonny Dykes did, and I'm sure they're only going to get better from here because I'm sure they're going to get some guys in the transfer portal. I'm sure they're going to do some things in recruiting now because of the success that they had this past season. So TCU, I think TCU is around to stay, and I think they're around for some continued success for years to come, especially under the tutelage and with Sonny Dykes at the helm. I think TCU is here to stay. So I want to give TCU a lot of credit. But it just showed last night that when you recruit as well as the University of Georgia recruits, and that's their second championship back-to-back. Remember a few years back, I almost pulled off that championship against Alabama when Tua threw that last-second touchdown, that walk-off to Devontae Smith. It wasn't meant to be for Georgia that night. But when you have 5-star recruits all over the football field like that, I'm talking about dogs. Pun intended. Dogs. I mean, if you look at those linemen, you look at Jalen Carter, who's going to be top. Well, he's definitely going to be the first defensive player in taking in the draft. I don't know. Unless Chicago Bears, we'll talk about that here in a second. Unless Chicago Bears want to take Will Anderson from Alabama, who I think may be a tad bit overrated, but that's neither here nor there. Not saying he's a great player, or not saying he can be a great player. I know he was double teamed a lot this year. So we'll see. But I watched him this year. I had eyeballs on him, even when he was up against players one-on-one. And he's no Von Miller. But he's probably going to be a top 2 pick, top 3 pick. Not probably, he is. He is. But Georgia, I'm talking about if you look at the linemen that they were rotating last night. I mean, you have true freshmen. What's the guy's name? Bear Alexander, I think he is, from Texas. How did UT let him get away? Are you serious? Looks like a clone of Jalen Carter. I mean, they're rotating players in and out. But to make a long story short, I don't have no need to break down different facets of the game that happened last night. Let's just put it like this. It was a demolition from start to finish. It was like men playing against boys out there. Again, no disrespect to TCU. But again, that just goes to show you, like I said, the talent level, when you recruit nothing but 5-star players, that's what happens in a game like that of that magnitude when it's mano a mano. I mean, Georgia was just too physical, too athletic. Way too physical. Both sides of the line of scrimmage. Way too athletic. All across the field. Wide receivers, defensive backs, you name it. And they were just too much for TCU. Just too much. Now you say, well, look what TCU did to Michigan. Hell, I don't know. Michigan beat Ohio State handily in the second half. How are these people talking about when they talk about that game? Oh, Michigan dominated. If you remember, Ohio State did go into halftime with that lead. And other than some fluke plays and some physicality that Michigan imposed their will on Ohio State as well, but a lot of fluke plays and a lot of I don't know. But Georgia shouldn't have been there last night. But again, I guess it was meant to be. Georgia shouldn't have been there last night. But I guess it was meant to be. My Buckeyes. You talking about now, I'll be honest. In these days, as I've gotten older, I don't let losses from my team linger as long. I have my own fish to fry. Number one. Number two, like y'all always hear me say, I'm not on their payroll. That goes for Ohio State, the Cowboys. I mean, so I truly mean that at the end of the day. Now, honestly speaking, I was very disappointed. So I said all that to say this. I haven't felt that bad after a loss in the way it ended. And I tell people all the time, if my team lose, I'd rather them just beat them. Just beat them fair and square throughout the game. Just dominate them. The last thing I wanted was a last-second missed field goal from Noah Ruggles. And it's sad. And I haven't felt that way since the Cowboys, and I mean this sincerely. I haven't felt that way since the Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers, 1982 championship. That's the last time I felt that bad. These recent Cowboy woes, they don't move me at all. So anybody who thinks I'm going to get all invested in the Cowboys this upcoming Monday night, do I want them to win? Sure. But am I going to get all invested and emotional if they lose? No. I'm telling you now, Cowboys fans, name drop alert, telling you now, my cousin Dumo, don't get your hopes up too high. But the last time I felt that way was in 1982 when they lost that championship game. I was sick. And I've told this story before. I came down the stairs crying after that game. My dad was like, boy, you crying? I was like, yep. I was sick. And I was like sick for like a week or two. Lost some money at school. I was in junior high school, placing bets. Lost some money, but I was sick. I thought Harvey Martin and Too Tall Jones had him. I remember that play like it was yesterday. Joe Montana and the catch with Dwight Clark. And that's what got that San Francisco 49ers dynasty off and rolling, or at least their championship run off and rolling. 82, then, of course, 85, 84, whatever, 85 Super Bowl when they beat the Miami Dolphins. Well, I was putting for the Miami Dolphins in that game. But I haven't felt that way. I haven't felt that way since that game. The difference is back then, it took me a minute to get over stuff like that. I mean, I was a kid. As tough as a kid as I was, I mean, I would get emotional when my team lose. The Cowboys. Especially after that game. That's really the only time I really remember really getting emotional like that. That was devastating. But that game with Ohio State last week, that was on par with that. That was on par with that. Until, honestly, the next day, by the time I woke up kind of late, though. I'll tell you that. Slept in. You remember on Minister Society? Shoot, a lot of y'all that can remember back that far. When the white man went to the dude's house. Well, you said 1 o'clock. I don't give a fuck what I said, nigga. Don't call my house no damn 1 o'clock. I don't get up to 2:30. I got up by 2:30. I don't get up to 2:30. For real. Hey, Wax. Fix me some links with them grits. Nigga, I'm hungry than the motherfucker. Y'all know nothing about that. But that was a classic right there. I had to go there right there. Because that took me back right there. I don't get up to 2:30. For real. But slept in. But my point is, got over it. For all those reasons I stated not too long ago. Hell, I don't have time to be worrying about Ohio State's debacle. But I will say this. I bashed Ryan Day after the loss to Michigan. And I heard some people it was some people texting me. And you know what? And you know what else is actually funny to me? But when you have people, I know there's a lot of people out there that was rooting against Ohio State. But if you're rooting against Ohio State, just wear it on your sleeve. You don't need to come texting me and acting like, all this and trying to make small talk about this and about that, knowing you over there cheesing. Because my Buckeyes lost. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I hate is a fake phony, wait for it, bird life. To any of y'all who was thinking like that. I'm serious. Buckeye Nation. But I had people trying to text me and bash Ryan Day. I can't put that on Ryan Day. I thought Ryan Day coached a tremendous game. I thought he opened up the offense. And see, that was the difference. That game with Ohio State, in Georgia, and TCU in Georgia, it's simple. 5-star recruits against 5-star recruits. Top-level talent across the board going against top-level talent on both sides of the ball. Marvin Harrison Jr., best receiver in the nation, they couldn't stop him. Had to have a targeting call that should have been called that wasn't. Got him out the game. But I thought Ryan Day coached a tremendous game. I really did. Then was going to go for it on that 4th down. Heads up play by Kirby Smart right there. That was one of that right there when Kirby Smart called that timeout when the Buckeyes was going to go for it. When they were on their own side of the field, on that 4th and 1, and would have picked it up easily. What a heads-up play by Kirby Smart. Because right after that, bomb. And, man, I'm so tired of these damn Ohio State DBs tripping over their feet, giving up big plays. You know, you hear all this talk about how great this defense coordinator is. The defense was a bit overrated. They played better. But you see what happened in the fourth quarter of that game right there? It reared its ugly head again. DBs tripping over their feet, giving up big plays all over the damn field. I mean, that play where they gave up that 70-something yard touchdown because the DB tripped over his feet, clumsy. That right there, that was huge. That was huge. Tell you a couple of more huge plays in that game. Of course, the loss of Cade Stover, the tight end, that was huge. Marvin Harrison Jr. at the end of the third quarter, that was huge because after that, you really didn't have those receivers really getting open at will. Now, Ibuka had a great game. A lot of that due to his skill set and a lot of that due to the play calling and the play design of Ryan Day. I thought Ryan Day opened up the playbook. I thought he had those guys ready to play. They were playing physical on both sides of the ball. Just gave it up in the fourth quarter. Playing physical, playing tough. C.J. Stroud played the game of his life. I know I've been on record saying that as much as I love C.J. Stroud, being an Ohio State Buckeye, that it's hands down Bryce Young for the number one pick. I still feel that way, but I don't know how much hands down it is anymore. I mean, because C.J. Stroud showed me something in that game as far as scrambling ability. Now, maybe if he would have utilized his legs more or if they would have asked him to, but a lot of that was due to some of the pressure Georgia was getting, and then he'd break out and run and do what he had to do. But a lot of that was due to that. But maybe if he would have utilized that more against Michigan, maybe the result could have been different. I don't know. Still had nothing, but he still has nothing to do with the defense getting gashed. But you talk about this great defense coordinator and all this and that coming from the Big 12. I mean, that's cause to pause right there. Coming from the Big 12. Tell me about a defense coordinator you're getting coming from the SEC or somewhere. Not the damn highest scoring damn conference in the nation. The Big 12. They had some moments. But come on, man. I mean, DB, who was number 15? McAllister came over with him from Oklahoma State, getting burnt all over the field. That first possession after Ohio State took a 7-0 lead where the coverage wasn't bad, but one thing about the DBs, they may have good coverage, but the receiver is catching the ball on them because they're not turning around finding the football. Then there was another big play in the game in the fourth quarter where the experienced McAllister, who comes over from Oklahoma State, Big 12, defensive juggernaut, Big 12, was supposed to be the leader of the defense, getting burnt. Show me a safety that made a play for Ohio State all year. Show me. Maybe one game. They talk about number 14. You know why I don't remember his name? Because he hasn't done anything. You know, they talk about how many tackles he's made and all this and that. Make some plays. Now, I know next season is going to be who's going to be playing quarterback next season? They're losing C.J. Stroud. Now, of course, Ohio State is going to come in next year, ranked behind Georgia, ranked number 2 probably in the early season polls, all this and that. Whoever's starting quarterback for Ohio State, they're probably going to be in the Heisman Trophy race because Ryan Day his design and scheme is so great with Marvin Harrison Jr. and all these receivers. He's going to throw the ball all over the yard. You have your running backs coming back. You know, I like the fact he played Dallin Hayden, but the number 19 that you played in the game against, that you started or that you played before Dallin Hayden against Michigan, I think you did Dallin Hayden well by playing him in that game. The running game didn't do too much in that game against Georgia. They did okay, not really much. Then you bench number 19 the entire game when Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson is out. And I thought number 19 was good. I just thought Dallin Hayden deserved a chance to get some run against Michigan before the latter part of the fourth quarter. But then you come and bench number 19, who actually looked good against Michigan, but you bench him for the entire game, and you don't have Travion Henderson or Mine Williams. So think about that. Ohio State was without Kyle Korver, Marvin Harrison, Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, who was a preseason All-American. Don't forget about that. And Mine Williams, who rushed for over 1,000 yards this year. So no excuses, but that, and not to mention Jackson Smith and Jigba. And you know what? As far as Jackson Smith and Jigba, if I'm Ryan Day, and again, I thought Ryan Day did a great job. I thought he did a great job. I'll touch on that a bit more here in a second. But if I'm Ryan Day and those Ohio State players, I wouldn't let Jackson Smith and Jigba back in the building. If you want to work out and go try for the NFL or go get in shape for the NFL, go work out somewhere else. Go to 24-Hour Fitness or Bally's or whatever they call it. Go somewhere else and work out. Because in my opinion, I don't care what, he could be a great guy. His teammates may love him. But he quit on his team. Now, if he was unhealthy, but you can't tell me that hamstring was not healthy enough to play for a national championship. You know why I like Bryce Young so much? And I said what I said about Will Anderson earlier. He may be a great player. But you see the leadership that they showed. They were not even playing for a national championship. They were in a bowl game. And they played in their bowl game. And they're going to be in the top 5. They're going to be 2 of the top 5 picks in the draft. And you talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba, you can't tell me he was not healthy by then. After you find out that your team has a chance, has gotten invited to the playoffs, that doesn't change your mind to go out there and fight for your team to help win a national championship. I lost all respect for Jackson Smith. Now, if he was still injured, I get it. But he had a month off before the bowl game. You can't go out there and help your team win. If you probably would have had him out there on the field once Marvin Harrison Jr. got hurt, things probably could have been different. I'm not saying they would have, but they could have been different. An All-American receiver. He's probably still going to be a first-round pick. But I lost a lot of respect for him for that. I can see now, I get it. It's a business decision. I'm not counting no one else's money. I get that. And okay, you don't want, but you have a chance to play for a national championship. If they were just going to the Rose Bowl like they did last year against Utah when they won that game, and they were just going to the Rose Bowl with nothing but a Rose Bowl berth on the line with no national championship hopes alive or something like that, I get it. But as soon as you find out that your team is playing, the team that you haven't played with all season, as soon as you hear that your team has a chance to play, has gotten invited to the playoffs and has a chance to play for a national championship, you go join forces and you go help win a national championship. I'm serious. If I'm Ryan Day, I would not let his ass back in the building. Go work out somewhere else. And yeah, I mean that sincerely. Hell. Come on, man. Noah Ruggles. I hate the fact. Hey, you know another big player in that game when I was watching that game? And I never felt comfortable in that game. And I'll move on here in a second and talk NFL, NBA, and all that. Just stay with me. Trust me, I wanted to get in here last week and talk about this. And I told y'all once before, and I'm not going to keep saying this. This is my last time saying it. Anytime my team lose and you don't hear from me, it's not because they lost. Because I'm the first one to come talk about my team losing and say why they lost and be ready to trust me. Trust me. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. But that play with Brock Bowers on that first down, before, I never felt comfortable in that game because Georgia just kept hanging around. They kept hanging around. And I kept saying to myself, Ohio State is going to this game off. Seriously. And I'd be damn if that's not what happened. But, again, it wasn't meant to be. It's all about perspective. But I'm not going to front. I was disappointed, man. But Brock Bowers, that first down that they gave him before they went to break. Because after that play on fourth down, before they went to break, they had not actually signaled that it was a first down. Once I saw the replay before they went to break, I said when they come back from the commercial, that's going to be a first down. So Ohio State's going to have to hold them to at least 3 points. Hopefully just 3 points. But I knew that was going to be a first down. That was huge. The non-call on Marvin Harrison. I mean, if a man gets a concussion, how in the world is he getting a concussion if it's not a blow to the head? Now, you can look at it from some angles, and it looked clean. It was just a physical play. Then you look at it from other angles. If you call that on the field, I don't think it was enough to reverse that. That was huge because Ohio State settled for 3 on that and probably would have went in for a touchdown if the ball would have been placed right there where it was supposed to be placed. That's why, again, wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. But again, the Kirby Smart timeout before Ohio State, before the DB tripping over his clumsy feet, quote unquote 5-star. Denzel Burke getting beat on a touchdown. One-on-one. You're not going to win them all. You're going to win some, you lose some. A.D. Mitchell, he beat him. He beat him one-on-one. But Ohio State needs a shutdown corner, a big-time free safety, ball hawk, like Malik Hooker used to be, and some beef on the defensive line. And a legitimate pass rusher. A legitimate pass rusher. No pass rush on Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, who I love. I don't know what his prospects are in the pros, but I'll take him on my team any day. The guy's a playmaker. He's a baller. You know, well, all these measurables, I can't. Baloney. The guy's a baller. You put him in the right system, Stetson Bennett is going to be a damn good pro. Whether or not he's a backup, I don't know. But just like anybody else, you give him his chance, and next thing you know, Stetson Bennett will be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I wouldn't be surprised. But Ohio State needs a shutdown corner, big-time safety, and a legitimate pass rusher like Chase Young. I know everybody's not going to be Chase Young or Nick or Joey Bosa. I get that. But no pressure on the quarterback whatsoever. Zach Harrison, show some flashes, big-time recruit. Tuamola, number 44, has a chance to be. But they just sit there and slug it out at the line of scrimmage. They never really get home every blue moon. I mean, so come on, man. But Noah Ruggles. It's sad. It's sad that Noah Ruggles, as great of a career as he had, it's sad that Noah Ruggles is actually going to be remembered for that kick. I mean, when I was watching that, okay, he got iced. He got iced. He got iced on the first. I mean, he got iced. Kirby Smart called a timeout to make him think about it. I get it. But I'm saying to myself, after C.J. Stroud had got him all the way down there in field goal range, I hate the fact that they didn't get any more yardage after that. Now, some people question whether or not that Ryan Day maybe should have passed the ball or maybe he got conservative on certain plays toward the end of the game. To be honest with you, hell, I was kind of like Ryan Day. Tick, clock, tick, tick, tick. But damn, Georgia kept striking. That big play, like I said, that 70-some yard touchdown. And then, I mean, so I get it. He was trying to make some. I mean, I thought his balance in that game was very well. I think he kept Georgia off balance, kept them running around, tiring the defense out. I thought Ryan Day did a great job. If you're waiting for me to come in here and bash Ryan Day, not going to do it. Even on some of those plays, a couple of those plays, maybe he could have passed the football. But again, Marvin Harrison is not in the game. Nobody else is just really getting open to that extent. And why take a chance on throwing a pick, even though C.J. Stroud was having a great game? And you can call that conservative if you want. But you have to be able to maintain that lead. That's not on Ryan Day. The defense cannot let that lead go like that. And Noah Ruggles, a 50-yard field goal. Granted, made a 48-yard field goal early in the game. Then another short field goal. When he kicked that ball, I mean, damn, it's almost like he was I mean, did they set up a goalpost near the sidelines or something? I mean, what in the hell was that? Dude was supposed to be an All-American. I thought they called timeout or something. The kick was so bad. I said to myself when he kicked it, come on, man, quit playing, bro. And then I realized, hold on, this is really happening. When I saw Georgia running on the field, it's like the dude was kicking the ball toward the sideline. What was that? And that was a good snap. Man, pressure bust pipes. I mean, damn. Did he see imaginary goalpost in the corner of the end zone by the corner pylon? Pylon? Was it a goalpost over there? I seriously thought he thought a goalpost was over there. Bruh, that was terrible. My Lord. I'm like, I promise when he kicked the ball, I'm like, come on, man, quit playing, bro. Quit playing. He can't be serious. And then gonna have the nerve to help the placeholder up, like, oh, no. Dude, go to the sideline and don't talk to me. Seriously. Man, now, I wish him well moving forward. I hope it's not something. Hope he didn't receive any death threats or anything like that. I mean, it's just a game. I know Buckeye fans will live it. If C.J. Stroud allegedly received death threats after the loss to Michigan, I could just imagine what Noah Ruggles went through. But it's a shame he has to be remembered for that kick. I mean, I almost thought they called timeout again. That kick was so bad. Man, bruh. At least give us a chance, bro. Damn. Pressure bust pipes. And I'll tell you this before I move on. C.J. Stroud, kudos, my friend. He showed a lot of heart. I mean, threw for what? Was 23 of 34, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, ran the ball well, showed that versatility, showed that he can be a scrambling quarterback. That's not his game. But showed that he can actually move. He's not just sitting back there like a statue. So that probably enhanced his stock some, I'm sure. It should have. I mean, his stock was already high as it is. But I thought C.J. Stroud, and he said he was going to do as much too, but his leadership in that game and his competitive spirit in that game, hey, man, my hat goes off to C.J. Stroud the way he played. And in my opinion, he closed the gap on Bryce Young. Of course, we know he's 6'3". So we'll see what happens next year. Again, they're going to have a quarterback that's going to be throwing the ball all over the yard. They're going to have a tremendous regular season. We'll see what happens when they play Michigan. They're playing at Michigan this year. Going to have a lot of people returning. Going to be ranked number in the top 2, 3 in the nation once again. Please go out and get some DBs and somebody that can rush the quarterback. Please. But having said all that, still proud of my Buckeyes. Buckeye Nation. Still proud of my Buckeyes. I'm not a moral victory type guy, but, hey, it wasn't meant to be. That game was not meant to be. Maybe next season, maybe. And anybody who's thinking, real quick, before I move on to some NFL, anybody who's thinking Bama, because I hear people talking about, I mean, the last 2 years, Georgia has been the dominant team in the nation. And they're going to be right there again next year doing the same thing. Bama still has a top recruiting class in the nation. Nick Saban isn't going anywhere. What is Nick Saban, 70 years old? He's not even nowhere near thinking about retirement. Not even close. Still spry as ever. Youthful exuberance. Around young players every day, young kids every day, young men every day. Nick Saban's not going anywhere. They keep recruiting at a high level. Whoever the quarterback will be next year, he'll fit right in. All that talent around him. So I know, I saw where they were ranked number 5 coming into next year in the early poll. Alabama, The Alabama Crimson Tide should never, as long as Nick Saban is there, should never come into the season ranked anything lower than 3. If you want to put them behind Ohio State and Georgia, that's fine. They should never come into the season ranked anything lower than 3. I know a lot of that thinking is, well, Bryce Young is gone. Will Anderson is gone. All they do is retool. I mean, come on now. Alabama ranked number 5 to start the season? Really? Just because Bryce Young and Will Anderson are gone? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But damn, Noah Ruggles, bruh. So Kyle McCord is going to be the quarterback next year for the Buckeyes. Kyle McCord, hold tight. I'm going to talk NFL. Going to talk some NBA. Kyle McCord is going to be, to be honest with you, and I know this is not going to happen. Quinn Ewers, transfer from Ohio State. Ohio State has to do something in the transfer portal. Me talking about get some DBs and all this and that, not just in recruiting. Get you somebody with some experience that's already proved themselves in college football that can come in there and make a difference. Maybe Denzel Burke could finally reach his potential and be that shutdown corner that I thought he could be at his freshman year. But he's probably not going to be a shutdown corner until he gets out of that damn number 10. Bro, you got to get out of that number 10. That's probably what's holding you back. That's a very ugly number right there in football, especially for a cornerback. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. Quinn Ewers, I take him back at Ohio State. You got Arch Manning going to Texas. I know that's not going to happen. I know Quinn Ewers is a competitor. But I'm just saying, I thought about it. The way UT finished the season, it's not a given. It's not a given that he's going to hold off Arch Manning. Now, man, the way he spins that football, and I know he was learning this past season under Sarkisian, he left a lot to be desired as far as decision making and things of that sort. Maybe he learned from that. But the way he can spin that football, man, I would love to see Ryan Day coaching him up. Now I wish he would have stayed at Ohio State, because I don't think they would have dropped off a bit as far as throwing that ball around the yard. And obviously they think Kyle McCord is going to be that guy anyway, because I saw some early Heisman candidates for next season, and he's on the list. So that shows you what they feel about Ryan Day and his offensive scheme and the talent that's around right there. But moving on, the Houston Texans. Oh, man. Damn, Houston Texans will mess up a damn I mean, are you serious? I'm sitting there watching that game. All they had to do was lose. Of course, they fired Lovie Smith. I told y'all Lovie was going to be a scapegoat. And I told y'all that, and I didn't think it would be that soon. After the last game, I didn't think he would be the scapegoat immediately like that. I at least thought Cal McNair and Nick Caserio would at least act like they were considering bringing him back. And, you know, some people say, well, the Texans really didn't mess over Lovie Smith because if you think about it, some might say, well, if you think about it, the Texans, they actually did Lovie Smith a favor because no one else was going to offer Lovie Smith a job, not even as a defense coordinator. Okay. That may be true. That may be true. But the same thing they did with Tully. Hold on right quick. The same thing they did with David Tully. When if you knew he was not going to be the guy after this season, you knew you were just going to dangle him out there for a year and then make him the scapegoat. I mean, hell, you could have went and got Josh McCown for that. if you knew he was not going to be part of your rebuilding process, at some point, the Houston Texans, worst ran organization in the NFL, worse. I don't hear not one Texans fan say anything about the Cowboys, whether the Cowboys win or lose this upcoming Monday. You know, they always want to have the Cowboys this, the Cowboys that. Texans are the worst ran organization in pro football, period. Period. It's not even close. If you look what they've done over the past years, alienating players, veteran leaders. J.J. Watt being one of them who just retired. I wish him well in his future endeavors. Great career. I can go on and on. Different GMs, different front office people. Players don't trust the organization. Poorly ran. I put that debacle, and y'all call it a debacle. I put that debacle the other day on the Texans organization. Because if Lovie Smith thought, now Lovie said before the game that he thought he was going to be back. I don't know if he was just blowing smoke or not. But Lovie probably stuck it to the Texans right there. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to be back. I mean, all of a sudden, when all you need to do is lose the game and you get the number one pick, then all of a sudden, the Texans turn into the 1981 San Diego Chargers. The last few minutes of the game, Dan Fouts and Eric Coryell, where did that come from? You think Davis Mills didn't want to stick it to the Texans? You think he didn't want to stick it to him as well, knowing that he was probably more than likely going to be out, hearing all the talk about who the number one pick is going to be? He knows his days are numbered. So, take that. That's what he did. But you know what? I put that on the Houston Texans organization because, not saying, I don't blame the players for playing hard. I don't blame them for playing hard. They only know one way. I mean, you can't go out there and half step on the football field. The game is too violent and too dangerous to do that. And so you have to play hard. But what you do, if you're an organization, if you're Nick Caserio, if you know Lovie is not going to be your guy, you should have thought ahead. You should have been playing chess instead of checkers. You should have said, okay, if Lovie knows he's gone, or even if he doesn't know he's gone, he might try to win this game. But it's almost like the Houston Texans were like, no, we don't want to be the worst team in the league. We want to be the second worst team in the league. I think Houston Texans fans would rather have the number one pick instead of a third victory. But all of a sudden, now Lovie, just to get on Lovie just a little bit, again, that's why it's kind of fishy about what his thinking really was, what his motivation really was in that game. Remember against the Indianapolis Colts? Now, they beat Indianapolis 32-31 in this game. Remember the first game of the year when he played all conservative, played for a tie? He played for a tie. Now, you going to tell me in the last game of the season when he has a chance to get the number one pick in the draft, or that team has a chance to get the number one pick in the draft, all of a sudden you're going for the victory? That's why I would not be surprised if Lovie did that on purpose, knowing that he was probably going to be out of there. I don't know. But that's what you do. That's why as an organization, what you do, you go in there and you make him play the third string quarterback. Even though Davis Mills is no juggernaut. He hasn't had a great year. But you go play the third string quarterback. You sit some of the starters. That's how you do that. Of course you don't tell the players, or you don't tell them go lose the game. The players are not going to do that. Their job's at stake. You go make sure they sit certain players. Okay, it looks like we're going to win this game. Hey, take out this quarterback. Take out this player. But again, into the game, the Texans turn. I'm sitting there looking like, what the hell are they doing? First of all, when they get out to the 10-0 lead, I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing? I hear something. Well, you got the number two. No, because now you put Chicago. You see what Chicago did? If Lovie Smith thought he was still going to be there, I'm willing to bet that Lovie Smith would have been more about, okay, let's get this now. I'm willing to bet that Lovie Smith is smart enough to realize that winning the third game of the year is not going to make anything too much different in the eyes of the beholder, in the eyes of the Texans fans. Winning the third game of the year on the last game of the season against an Indianapolis Colts team with Jeff Saturday, who I admire a lot. I admire the job he was able to go in there, and the fact that he had the heart and the guts to go in there and take on that job with no coaching experience. I admire that. But you mean to tell me that winning the third game against a team that's played three different quarterbacks all year on their third string quarterback, nowhere near the playoffs, what did they win? What were they, a 4-win team at the time? I mean, what's this, the toilet bowl? I mean, seriously. You mean to tell me that's more important than getting the first pick? I'm willing to bet that if Lovie Smith would have thought that he was going to be back next season coaching the Texans, that he probably would have opted to do anything he could to get the number one pick, because when you get the number one pick, you're operating from a position that you cannot operate with anywhere else. You're operating from a position of more, you have more of an advantage. You have more options when you get the number one pick. You know, of course you can say, well, they still make you what they want at number two and all this and that. Man, and anybody, why do you think, see, Eberflus in Chicago, why do you think he said Justin Fields? Because they're looking toward the future, because he knows he's going to be there. The Texans, either they left that in limbo with Lovie Smith, or that's why I blame it on the organization. It's just, it's just a horrible organization. But why do you think they set Justin Fields in that game? And yes, Justin Fields is their franchise quarterback. I can hear all this talk about should they draft a quarterback? No, they're not drafting a quarterback. If anything, they'll trade back before they draft a quarterback. Justin Fields proved that he's the franchise quarterback for this team. You have to get him some weapons. You have to get some players around him. You have to get him some receivers. Oh, well, yeah, he's a great runner, but he's a damn good passer. How in the hell you think he got drafted that high? He didn't get drafted that high because he was a great runner. You remember what he did against Clemson? You've seen him throw the football when he had somebody to throw to. So quit this speculation about can he pass the football. Yeah. If you have somebody to throw the ball to, he'll be one of the best passers in the game. At 6'3", 220, running the 4.3. Come on now. Oh, can he pass? Well, let's see if he can pass. Damn. Seriously? Quit just saying stuff just to say it. Yes, Justin Fields, and I know Ryan Poles said that he's going to, of course he's going to say that, operating from a position of power, meaning the number one pick that the garbage Texans should have had. Of course he's going to say that all options are open. Man, Justin Fields is their starting quarterback. He's their franchise quarterback, period. And anytime I hear somebody on TV speculating about what they may do, I'm turning the channel. Just like I did, like I said, leading up to the TCU Georgia game. Every time I saw anything TCU, click. Yeah, I got over it the next day, but still, click. I don't care what I was watching. Hey, the national championship game, TCU, click. I didn't watch no pregame. I didn't watch any pregame yesterday. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, keeping it 100, you listen to the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty, the show where we keep it 100% of the time. I slept through the whole first quarter. I fell asleep waiting on the game. I wasn't excited about the game. Who cares? My team not playing. I watched enough of it just to be able to come in here and say that I saw they won 65-7. Seriously? But all Justin Fields is not getting traded. They have their quarterback. Now, whether or not they trade back to Chicago Bears, they trade back and acquire some draft. Now you're Houston, unless you really feel that you're going to get the player that you want with the second pick. And then you have the 12th pick. It might not look as bad. But you put yourself in a disadvantage when you didn't need to. When you could have been operating from a position of power with the number 1 pick, you maybe could have traded that pick, traded back, acquired more picks. What do you think Chicago is going to do now? Anybody, what if you really want Bryce Young at number 2 or C.J. Stroud? You don't think the Indianapolis Colts are going to think about moving up now, doing business with Chicago Bears at number 1 because they had a number 1 pick? You don't think they're going to think about moving up? They need a quarterback. I'm sure they like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. What about the Carolina Panthers, who should keep Steve Wilkes, by the way? Give the brother a shot. The brother went 6-6 after losing Christian McCaffrey and playing with no quarterback the entire season. What about Carolina? You think they want a quarterback? Atlanta. So now Chicago is operating from a position of power because the lowly Houston Texans, they go out there in the last few minutes of the game, they turn into the 81 Chargers and Eric Coryell. I mean, that was the funniest thing. And my boy, name drop alert, my boy Selwyn, who's going to be on the show at some point. You all have seen him on the show before in the past. Just haven't had a chance to get back in here. But we talk all the time, grew up with him, played in the NFL, high school teammate, Selwyn Jones, name drop alert. Big time Texans fan. I say, Sel, what are y'all doing, bro? What are y'all doing? Well, we can still get who we wanted to, blah, 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 blah. Again, not necessarily. Well, maybe we can draft Jalen Carter, who's a dog, by the way. Ohio State ran him ragged, but I think they regrouped. I think he regrouped after that when they got in some shape this last week and really brought the noise against TCU. But TCU is not Ohio State, but that's a story again for another day. Not the same talent. But Texans, man, seriously, that was comical. That was comical. You think that Noah Ruggles kick was comical? That was comical right there. At least my team was playing in the playoffs. At least they made it that far. So anybody who wants to rag on the Buckeye and your team is who? Thought so. Damn Texas, boy. Oh, man. Damn Texas will mess up a wet dream. Aaron Rodgers, who knows? Last week, of course, they didn't make the playoffs now. So now his tone has changed now. I don't know what I'm going to do. As of a week ago, it was, y'all counted us out. Look at us now. I'm all in with this team. Now, the mood is more like, I don't know about this team. Hell, I don't know. We didn't make the playoffs. Seattle has to thank the Detroit Lions for that. Well, Seattle has to thank the Detroit Lions for them getting in. Detroit beating Green Bay. Right. I don't know. He won't be in Green Bay next season. I know they owe him some money. He's going to be traded. What have I been telling y'all? And I know it's mere speculation on my part, but it's a true gut feeling I have. LaFleur is ready for him to go. He's been ready for him to go. The only problem was Aaron Rodgers kept winning MVPs. And everybody kept talking about, you can't get rid of Aaron Rodgers, even though you have a quarterback waiting in the wings, Jordan Love, who I said earlier you should have played. But Aaron Rodgers was like, no, I want to play. Now I might like this team and I might not like this team. No, he was very articulate and very eloquent in stating the fact that, sometimes it may just be time to move on. He says some compelling things. I'm not falling for it, though. I'm not falling for it. I'm telling you right now, Matt LaFleur is ready for Aaron Rodgers to go so he can take over the reins of this team. And I know some might say, well, why would he be ready for Aaron Rodgers to go? Because Aaron Rodgers, he gives them the best chance to succeed. And if they succeed, that only means his job is more stable. That sounds cute. Now let's put the human factor in it. Matt LaFleur is ready for Aaron Rodgers to go. He's been ready for Aaron Rodgers to go. So he can be the guy that gets the credit when they win. Think about this. When Green Bay wins, even though they had an off year, and Aaron Rodgers had an off year, I'm sure he's going to have some suitors. He says it's not about the money next year. Bull crap. $50 million, it's about the money. He'll be back playing somewhere. He's not going to retire. You can forget about that. If he does, he may retire for 2 weeks. But Matt LaFleur is ready for Aaron Rodgers to go. Think about this. When have you ever seen just the mood in the media, just the vibe in the media since Matt LaFleur has been there when Green Bay wins? When have you ever had the sense that Matt LaFleur was getting the credit for that victory or for a string of victories or for a playoff berth? It's all about how great Aaron Rodgers is. All the great Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur is sitting there like saying quietly to himself, will this dude get the hell on so I can do what I do and see what I do and let the chips fall where they may? It may just happen now. Missing the playoffs may have been the best thing for Matt LaFleur. Yeah, I said that, and yes, I'm serious. Missing the playoffs this year, I wouldn't be surprised if I can get in Matt LaFleur's head right now. I would not be surprised if Matt LaFleur was happy they missed the playoffs. He knows he didn't have a team to make any noise in the playoffs. Why make the damn playoffs when all you're going to hear the rest of the offseason is why you should bring Aaron Rodgers back? Because he's Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur doesn't want to hear that anymore. He's ready to move on. Whether or not that's showing that he can bring Jordan Love to the player that they drafted him to be or whatever. Trust me when I say that. Matt LaFleur, and you've heard me say it. Trust me. I'm going to say it again, and I don't care what no one else says, and I don't care who disagrees with me. Matt LaFleur is ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. I know he said the other day, oh, yeah, we're going to welcome him back. Of course he's going to say that. First ballot Hall of Famer. 2 MVPs the last couple years. Of course he's going to say that. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. Damn Cowboys. If you think I'm going to go into Monday night, and I see what the NFL is doing. They're setting everybody up. Yeah, I know the Chiefs are not playing this upcoming weekend. And I know the Eagles are not playing this upcoming weekend. But you isolate the Cowboys. When has a playoff game ever been on a Monday night? I'm still trying to figure that one out, but okay. I guess I'll catch a half. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure I'm going to catch that whole game. But what was that against the Washington Commanders? And you see, this is why I'm not putting all my stock in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not. I mean, you say, well, pick a side. Blah, blah. Yeah. When you start paying me a six-figure salary, I'll make a damn fool out of myself and say, yeah, the Cowboys are going to win. And even then, I probably wouldn't. Y'all know I don't mind picking hell. I pick a side all the time. Told y'all Golden State was going to win in 6 last year. Win. Before Ohio State lost. I said Ohio State was going to shock the world. They didn't. I'm always picking who I think is going to win and all this and that when it comes to my team or whoever. But if you think I'm about to get up here and guarantee a Cowboys victory against Tampa Bay, I don't care what record Tampa Bay has this year. It's Tom Brady and the GOAT. If you think I'm about to sit up here and make a fool of myself, and I don't mind making a fool out of myself either. But you know what? Just because it's the Cowboys, I'm going to go against the grain. And hey, I don't know. Again, you listen to the Sports Court. I'm Gregory Beatty, the show where we keep it 100% of the time. And I'm keeping it 100. I don't know. You see why I was skeptical? As much as I like Dak Prescott, you see why I was skeptical before he demanded that $40 million. Give me $40 million. Why? You hadn't done anything. You put up a bunch of gaudy numbers. You hadn't done anything when it mattered. Throwing interceptions all over the damn place. Cowboys out there lollygagging around like they have nothing to play for. And they played their starters. They played their starters. He's thrown 11 interceptions over the past 7 weeks. 11. We can talk about all these coaches that might be out there for all these teams. Haven't heard Eric Bieniemy's name mentioned. That's a story for another day. But he's still playing. You know, now I think it's just a thing. Like, you know, don't hire Eric Bieniemy. Boy, the devil is alive, boy. But that performance that they put on out there the other day, you know, was sad. Dak, 11 interceptions over the past 7 weeks. You know the only way I picked the Cowboys? You know the only way? Okay, the Cowboys are going to win the game. The Cowboys are going to win. I really believe that. I really believe that. But you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. How's that? How's that? Cowboys. Man. The only way, the best chance the Cowboys have of winning is Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Emmitt Smith walking through that door anytime soon, Charles Haley. But seriously, the best chance they have of winning is not letting Dak Prescott throw the ball too much. Too much. Now, maybe that game last week, maybe that may be a good sign for the Cowboys or a good thing for the Cowboys. You will want them to go in rolling with some momentum. That's what you really want. You want that momentum. That's how most teams think. But no, not the Cowboys. Let's go in limping against the greatest quarterback of all time who just won a damn Super Bowl a few years ago. Let's go in limping at their place and be a laughingstock again. But you know what the NFL is trying to do? Like I was saying a minute ago, Monday night, they're setting it up. They're setting it up for the Cowboys. Yeah, they're going to get the viewership. Again, the Chiefs and the Eagles are not playing this weekend. So the number 1 seeds. So yeah, the Cowboys, but you could have put the Bills and or the Bengals or somebody on Monday night. They're setting it up so the Cowboys can have an epic failure for the world to see. They're isolated. Monday Night Football. Yeah, we're going to get all the views on the Cowboys. Oh, America's team. Jerry Jones. Monday Night Football. That's game. They're isolating them. They're isolating the Cowboys so they can be a laughingstock to see if they make a fool out of themselves. And if they don't, it's a win-win. Look, the Cowboys won. They move on. We still got the views. Gonna get the views again next week, wherever we play them at, whenever we put them on. But let's put them on Monday night so everybody in the world can be isolated on the Cowboys losing that first playoff game again. I know what the NFL is doing. I know what they're doing. They can't fool me. I know what they're doing. Now it's up to the Cowboys to make sure that they move on. But I'm not going to come up here in front. I'm not going to come up here and lie and say that I have that much confidence in the Cowboys. The defense is not, hell, Micah Parsons, as much as I love Micah Parsons, I don't need to rehash, the Micah Parsons story. He looks like half of the time he's out there like, oh man. He looks like he's ready to go on vacation. God damn it. They're double teaming me. I can't get to the quarterback. My damn quarterback is throwing interceptions all over the damn place. What are we doing? Do I really want to be out here? Look at him. Look at his demeanor. On the sideline and everything, it's like, he doesn't have any confidence in this team. And I don't want to speculate about Dak Prescott. I mean, maybe next game, the Cowboys may win because of Dak Prescott. I wouldn't count on it because he's always throwing the ball where he's not supposed to be throwing it. At the most inopportune time, at the time when you really, no time is a good time to throw an interception. But I just don't trust him. And I don't know what's going on with Dak. And then Dak, excuse me, he tried, great leader. Teammates love him. But he tries to smooth things over. He'll throw an interception. Then he'll go to the sideline. He'll fist bump a couple of linemen, keep them at bay. Dude, don't fist bump me. Quit throwing interceptions. They jog back on the field. He tapping everybody on the helmet. He's a great leader. Have you just thrown a crucial pick? Can't fool me. And I like Dak. But he tried to smooth everything over with his players. Let's go. Let's go. We're good. Man, quit throwing interceptions. But you're going to have to lean on the run. You're going to have to lean on the run game if you're the Dallas Cowboys. And you cannot put the ball in Dak's hands like that and just let him toss the ball around the yard. Because I'm telling you right now, and I don't care how slow y'all say Tampa Bay's defense is and all this and that, it's a brand new season. And Tom Brady can still chunk it. And they still have some players that played on that Super Bowl team. They may have been injured and all this and that, but they have a brand new life coming up Monday night. Cowboys lose this game, I might be out on them. I might be out. I'm serious. And I've been a Cowboys fan since I was a kid. Tony D, my favorite player of all time. I'm serious. Go out and lose this game. And win the damn toss Monday night and defer. Go ahead. You did it at home last year. You got behind the San Francisco 49ers and played catch up the whole game because you gave them confidence right out the gate. Win the toss and defer this time. We're going to defer to the second half. Man, take the ball, get some momentum, trust your defense to come out on the next possession after you hopefully score. Trust your quote-unquote great defense to come make a play on the team that supposedly is slow now. Now Mike Evans has gotten some confidence back again. Tom Brady hasn't lost any confidence. Win the toss Monday night and defer and let Tom Brady drive down the field and work his magic and go up 7-0. And see how quick you lose a fan. I don't give a damn how much money you have and whether you care or not. Especially if you lose. Cowboys. Who we have this weekend coming up? Before I talk a little NBA. Okay, we got the Bills and the Dolphins. Got the Bills and the Dolphins. The Bills, emotional win over the Pats last week after the Damar Hamlin incident. Now they have a week to rest, get their emotions in check, take a deep breath. You saw what they did last week. On the heels of that, playing for Damar. 2 touchdown kickoff returns by Nyheim Hines. Now the Bills have something to play for, really. It's all about playing for tomorrow right now. They're already going to be formidable anyway. Probably was a Super Bowl pick. Probably was a Super Bowl favorite for in most people's eyes. Not mine. Coming out of the AFC. I still like the Chiefs coming out of the AFC. Now, I hope my cousin is Chargers. I hope they can work some magic and do some things. Now they're starting to get healthy. But the show where we keep 100 of the time. Anything can happen. I'm rooting for them. But right now, I think the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC. The Bengals might have something to say about that, of course. But the Bills and the Dolphins this week. Who knows if Tua's going to play? Of course, you have Tyreek Hill and that vaunted passing attack, but they may be playing with their third-string quarterback. They may be playing with a rookie, Skylar Thompson. But either or, even if Tua played, he will make that offense a bit more dynamic. Well, not a bit more, a lot more. Playing in Buffalo, cold weather, I don't know what the temperature is going to be. Miami just folded toward the end of the season. A lot of that had to do with Tua's injuries. A lot of that had to do with them just folding. I don't trust them in cold weather. I don't know how cold it's going to be. But regardless if Tua is playing or not, I don't trust them against the Bills. I don't. Especially an inspired Buffalo Bills team. Bengals and the Ravens. The Bengals, man, the Bengals have been taking care of business. The Ravens are playing with their third-string quarterback, Anthony Brown. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to be back. He hasn't practiced in 5 weeks, and you're telling me if that knee is still swelling up, that he's going to come back and play in a playoff game, a wild card game against the team that went to the Super Bowl last year in the AFC? I love his competitive spirit. If he did, I would commend him for it. I don't see it happening because I don't think he's healthy. And even if he does come back, he's not going to be the Lamar Jackson that we all know and love. He's not going to be that dual threat that's really going to cause problems against Cincinnati, a Cincinnati team that where Joe Burrow is just throwing the ball all over the yard to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You have Joe Mixon in the backfield. Cincinnati wins that game. Jaguars against the Chargers. I'm pulling for the Chargers for obvious reasons. Now, the Jags have won 6 out of the last 7 contests. Started out kind of shaky. Started out showing promise early in the season. Then things went awry. Then they got it back together. Again, have won 6 out of the last 7. The defense flies around. Beat the Titans last week because of that defense. The defense flies around. Trevor Lawrence, during that span, had a few 300-yard games, passing games, came on strong. Doug Peterson has been coaching him up very well. He's looked like the number 1 pick. Last couple of games, not so much. Accuracy leaves a lot to be desired a lot of times. But he's played like a number 1 pick this season, and he's only ascending. He's only going to get better. But if you look at the Chargers, Brandon Staley, who they say is on the hot seat, I hope that's not the case, because if he's on the hot seat, what does that say about kinfolk? So you listen to people, Brandon Staley on the hot, Brandon Staley. All right, man, would y'all chill? I know you have to do your job, but chill. The man made the playoffs. Damn. Talk about somebody else. The man made the playoffs with all the injuries that they've had at wide receiver, on defense, lineman, you name it. Why are we still talking about Brandon Staley being on the hot seat? They're in the playoffs. After going through all those injuries, the injuries that they've been through all season. Give them some credit for that. Can you give Brandon Staley some credit for rallying this team and making the playoffs? No matter how they did it, they made it. They stayed tough throughout all those injuries throughout the season. He kept that team together, and they're in the playoffs. So all this noise about his job is in jeopardy. Talk about somebody's job in jeopardy that is not in the playoffs. How about that? Jesus Christ. Yeah, hey, you got Trevor Lawrence against Justin Herbert. It's going to be a good one. Now the Chargers, Trevor Lawrence, the best option for the Jags, you have Travis Etienne, who again, like I said, it's almost like you got a first-round draft pick this past season because he was hurt all last season. He's rushed for over 100 yards a number of times this season. That's their best bet against the Chargers defense that gives up 5.4 yards per rush. Run defense ranked, what, 27th? But had a 6th ranked pass defense. So not saying that Trevor Lawrence won't be able to move the ball. He has some weapons that he's throwing to now that's doing some things. But their best shot against the Chargers is to probably utilize Travis Etienne. And then you have Justin Herbert. They're going to have to let the man throw the ball downfield. I know they've dealt with some injuries. Mike Williams is back this week. You're getting Bosa back. Maybe Bosa will help on that run defense for the Chargers. It's going to be an interesting game. Two great young quarterbacks. We shall see. We shall see. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers in that game. I think we're getting players back healthy. They're going to have to let Justin Herbert throw the ball down the field. All this dink and dunk, throwing the ball toward the sidelines. I know some of your receivers have been hurt. Let the man open it up and throw the ball down the field. Get Eckler involved. It's going to be a good game. Again, Jacksonville, they're going to be good for a long time. They're going to be good for a long time. They have a very young team. And again, what I notice about them on defense, they fly around. They fly around. And they make plays. 49ers and the Seahawks. I'm going to take the 49ers. The 49ers are a juggernaut. You're talking about a rugged defense. Brock Purdy, who's going to throw for a couple of touchdowns, it seems like, in every game. He called him Mr. Irrelevant. I call him Mr. Relevant. I know he was called that because he was the last pick in the draft coming out of college. But the Niners haven't skipped a beat. They've won 10 in a row, even though they've dealt with some injuries. Despite the injuries to the first and second string quarterback, Jimmy G and Trey Lance. What has Shanahan done? Brock Purdy comes right in. Now he's looking like, you're talking about a quarterback controversy? You let him lead them to the Super Bowl, to a Super Bowl victory. Oh, now they're going to be saying, what should we do with Trey Lance? Anybody want Trey Lance in the draft? We just won a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. Boy, the Niners got it going on right now, for real, for real, for real. And kudos to the Seahawks for making it. I mean, you can't count the Seahawks out. They're not going to beat the 49ers, I don't think. I just think the 49ers defense is too tough. They played the 49ers this season twice. As great as Geno Smith has been, comeback player of the year, probably. He's only thrown for one touchdown against them in those two games. But the Niners are rugged on the defensive side of the ball. Again, the Seahawks should thank Detroit for beating Green Bay, getting them out of here. They should thank them. Vikings and the Giants. I know what were the Vikings, 12-4? I like the Giants in this game. I like the way Daniel Jones is playing. They're utilizing him now more than just a scrambling quarterback. Brian Dable has put trust and confidence. He's put confidence in him. He's instilled that confidence, and he's put his trust in him. And the fact that, hey, I'm not just going to use you as a scrambling quarterback. I'm going to let you drop back and make some plays, even though we are devoid of big-time playmakers on the outside. But the Vikings' run defense is terrible. And you have Saquon Barkley back there for the Giants. I think the Giants are going to win this game. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I think the Giants are going to win this game. I really do. I'll talk about the Chiefs and the Eagles next week. I'll talk about them next week. But so we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting. Isn't any game that I missed? Wild card weekend. Again, I think the Bengals are going to win. I think the Bengals, they just have too much for the Ravens, especially without Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson plays, maybe he instills some confidence in the physicality of the Ravens and their moxie and their playoff experience. Maybe they may shine through some if they can get something out of the run game. Maybe they can make it interesting. But Lamar Jackson, I don't think he's going to play. And if he does play, he's not going to be anywhere near healthy. If he is, I'll be surprised. We'll talk about his contract another time. We'll talk about that another time. But moving to the NBA real quick before I get out of here. Of course, you know when football season is over, it's going to be all NBA from start to finish for the most part. Phoenix Suns, they're done. I think they're done. Chris Paul is out again. He's been playing inconsistent. Maybe he's kind of – you'll see some games where he puts up some numbers, but they're done. But they've struggled with inconsistency, and you have Devin Booker out. The Warriors, again, I said earlier, now you're getting Steph back. That bench is coming together. You're getting Wiggins back. And again, think about that. You're getting the MVP from last year's finals, championship finals, where they won a championship. The MVP is Steph Curry, Hall of Fame great, best shooter of all time. You're getting them back in the fold. I know what they've done on the road thus far. Now that's very telling. That's very surprising. But a lot of that, too, has to do with the Warriors. Like, hey, we just won a championship. We just won our 4th championship. You know, we're away from home. Who knows what's going on? You know, you get away from home. You just start, I don't know. Start hanging out. I don't know. That's what I'm saying about Dak Prescott. Not to go back to that, but Dak got that $40 million. And I don't know what Dak is. Something is taking his concentration. And I think I got a good idea what it might be. And I'll just leave it at that. But you got the Warriors. You got Steph coming back in the fold. And you have the second best player in last year's finals for the Warriors. And Andrew Wiggins coming back. To go along with a bench that's coming together with Iguodala, DiVincenzo, Anthony Lamb. Don't count the Warriors out yet. You know, I know they have to deal with Memphis. Memphis is still young. I know they got some playoff experience last year. Ja's a bad boy. Ja's a bad boy. But when you play a team like the Warriors in the playoffs, experience matters. Experience matters. Now, maybe they gained something from that experience last year, but the Warriors have been there and done that way too much. And you got Clay playing like Clay? Come on, man. Seriously? Jordan Poole can give you 35 to 40 on any given night, along with Andrew Wiggins, who's coming back now. Steph, need say no more. It's just about the Warriors just wanting to play more so than anything. We all know Draymond is going to be Draymond. He's going to buckle down when it's time to buckle down. I wish he would be more of a scoring threat at this point. At least act like you want to score more than 3 points. Maybe that would help out the Warriors too. Sure it would. At least shoot a 3 from time to time. You know. But LeBron James, man. Woo! You know what? I don't think the Lakers are championship ready. Of course, AD is out with that fractured foot. The Lakers right now would not be one of the top teams that you talk about. I know I can talk about the Memphis and the Denver Nuggets. Jokic playing at an MVP level once again. Then you have Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray. Now he's starting to get back healthy. Think about that. The depth that the Nuggets have with Jokic playing at an MVP level once again. The man is a walking triple-double. Denver is going to be a team to be reckoned with. The Warriors, Memphis. If the Clippers, if they ever get healthy and decide that they want to play more than one game in a row, maybe they may make some noise. But you can't count on them. You don't know what's going on with them. But LeBron James, the man just turned 38 years old. And to see what this man is still doing, won Western Conference Player of the Year last week. Player of the Week last week. It just amazes me how he continues. I marvel at what he's able to do at 38 years old. This man is 38 years old. And he hasn't lost a step. Teams still have the game plan for him. He said that's what keeps him going in the interview that I saw. Because he knows, he says, as long as teams still have to make him a focal point of their scouting, and he wants to play with his son, he's already marketing that. I don't know how good Bronny Jr.'s, LeBron James, Bronny, I don't know how good he is, but LeBron is already campaigning for that to happen. And he said for a full year. He wants to be the Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. in baseball for the Seattle Mariners, who I met, by the way. Played with Ken Griffey's Jr.'s brother, Craig, at Ohio State. He was a walk-on at Ohio State from Cincinnati. Damn good, too, as a defensive back. And met his dad. I never met Junior. He was always somewhere. But me and Craig, we stayed in the same apartments. Ken Griffey Sr. used to come down there cooler than a fan. Mom and dad. I've said this before on the show. Cooler than a fan. And I like to say that about people. Same thing I like to say about Archie Griffin. Even though Archie Griffin wasn't a great pro player, but I hear these people talk about how wonderful some of these pro players are and how great they are. You're not going to meet a better guy than Archie Griffin. Probably the best college player of all time, the only two-time Heisman, by the way. But LeBron James says that he wants to play with his son for a year. He let that be known. You see how he got that in, Skrilla? For a full year. Like, in other words, don't call my son into camp and release him. I want him on my team for a full year. And LeBron James may just get that chance. I don't know how good Bronny's going to be in college. He's 6'2". He's good. He's a good high school player. I don't know if he's great. But if LeBron want him on the team for a year, somebody put him on the team for a year. Not 3 months, not a month, not training camp, but LeBron made sure he said for a year. Like, I want him for a year. And then he'll ride off into the sunset. But what this guy is able to do at 38 years old, hasn't lost any explosion, putting up 38. On his 38th birthday, he scored 38. Putting up 40-point games, 43, 11, and 7. Hasn't lost any explosion. May take a game off here and there, but what you expect, 38 years old. Hasn't lost any explosion, none. Still plays above the rim. And it's not like he's a 38-year-old. I have a few minutes left in here, about 2 or 3 minutes before I get out of here. A few minutes, 5 minutes. It's not like he's a 38-year-old who he can do one thing well, but can't really do this well. Still filling the stat sheet. Rebounding, assists, running the floor, playing above the rim. Now, if AD comes back and play like he was playing, and the Lakers can continue that surge and get in the play-in tournament, who knows? I don't put anything past LeBron. I'm not gonna sit there and pick them to win the championship right now. But the way LeBron is playing, man, he hasn't lost a step. If I'd ever buy the trade deadline, trade him to Golden State. Yeah, I'm one of them. Hey, I'm one of those guys. Get you another one. Your legacy is cemented. Oh, no, you can't go play with Steph. Why not? Why not? I'd love to see that. Yeah, it'd be an automatic ring, but why not? He's proven he's the second best player of all time, second or third. You want to go him or Kareem behind Jordan. Some people think he's the best. He doesn't have anything to prove. Hell, send him somewhere we can win another ring. I wouldn't look down on him because of that. Not at all. Just like I didn't look down on KD for going to Golden State and winning. Because if he don't win, you never won a ring. You never won a ring. Then he win a ring. Oh, look how. Come on, stop it. Stop it. 2023. Let it go. Get over it. I would love to see LeBron win another championship. Seriously. The Nets have been balling. But again, real quick, if AD come back, who's missed 13 games, AD was averaging, 27, 12, 2.1 blocks, shooting 59%. But that's the thing. You can't trust him to stay healthy. Thomas Bryant is filled in nicely. He's no AD. Speaking of Kevin Durant, now he's out again for at least another month because somebody fell into his knee again. The Nets have been balling. Do I think the Nets, am I like some people who think the Nets are, no, I don't think the Nets are going to win the championship. I don't think they have enough inside presence to really be done because when you go against a team when you go against, I mean, there's a lot of other teams I can talk about. I still think in the East, I still think Milwaukee, once they get Chris Middleton back, Milwaukee is just too. They're just too. Milwaukee and the Celtics are the team to beat. The Sixers, you can say the 76ers, or but I don't see them doing anything either when it comes to the playoffs. As much as I love Joel Embiid, the Milwaukee Bucks. If I had to pick a team right now to come out of the East, I'm gonna say Milwaukee, a healthy Milwaukee, because Giannis is just that dominant. As much as I love Jason Tatum and Brown and the additions that Boston has, the Bucks are just too big and physical, and Giannis is just too dominant. And the Bucks can beat you in a myriad of ways. As far as the Nets, I don't see them beating the Bucks in the playoffs. Kyrie, he's been great. He's been great since he's come back from the suspension. They've won 17 of 19? They're clicking on all cylinders before this KD injury. But I watched them, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy that Kyrie is actually playing basketball. Great talent, tremendous talent. You get to the playoffs, I like what Claxton is doing. TJ Warren gives them a scoring punch. Seth Curry. I don't think you beat somebody like Milwaukee with Brook Lopez. How does Kyrie look going in there? You know those little guards like that when it comes to the playoffs. He can do all that during the regular season. Big-time player. Do it in the playoffs as well. But at some point, you're going to have to go in the lane. And when you're going against 7 foot, 6'11", and 6'10" if you add Bobby Portis, then you have to work to get by Drew Holiday to start that, Chris Middleton. I don't think the Nets, as great as the Nets have been, I don't think they can mess with the Bucks or the Celtics. I don't care if they win 25 in a row. Of course, they're going to taper off some now because KD is out. As much as I love KD, as great as KD is, they can't mess with the Bucks or the Celtics. They can't. Let's just call it what it is. Just call it what it is. All teams being healthy. But I'll talk more NBA. I'll talk more NBA and talk about some other teams, Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell. I can go on and on. I'll talk more NBA next week. Definitely will do that. But until then, I'm going to get out of here. Roof, the sports court, baby. Legends live and let live. Peace to the Middle East.